Okay, this is a short video of my turntable, which is a realistic Lab-400, probably made in about 1977, 1978. This is realistic was a Radio Shack brand, which you would not normally think of as being high end or top of the line, and it's not. But this particular table, and I don't claim to know why or understand all the nuances of the reasons, is held in very high regard. And I'm not by any means an audio aficionado, but it is an amazing table. It sounds great, it works great, and I'm just going to put up a very short little clip of it in action. This is a direct drive table, which means that it doesn't have a belt, and it's got a strobe light on there for pitch, which I think you can kind of see there. I apologize that the lighting isn't a little bit better. Got some crap on the ladder, which is a little embarrassing, but I do keep it clean, believe it or not. The dust cover is actually not going to be in this video because it has a very bad crack in the front, well, actually in the back, and then there's also a smaller crack in the front. And I keep it on the platter when it's not in action, but when it is, I just let it. I just lay it on the floor. You can, just lay it wherever. It doesn't matter. So the counterweight is set to just under 1.5 grams, which is appropriate to the tracking force on the cartridge, which is an Audio-Technica 440 MLA. It's a really nice table. I love it, and it sounds incredible. And so I have it running through just an old cheap Techniques amp, which is nothing special. It's kind of hard to see in the light, but or in the lack of light, I should say. But it's a decent amp. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. I've got 4 speakers, kind of jerry-rigged into fake quad. So I've got one right there under the rabbit head. I've got one there, and then I've got one to the left of where or the right of where I sit. Again, hard to see in the shitty lighting. And then there's another one kind of to the left of where I sit there in the corner. My setup is in the basement because that's kind of what I'm just, there's some hair products there. So there's my Christmas lights for white trash ambiance, and there's a lamp there that it's kind of like one of those spider lamps that it's just kind of sitting there for no reason. It's not hooked up to anything. Anyway, getting back to the turntable. So on the platter, I have Nebraska by Springsteen, which is a great record. It came out in '82. So Nebraska, just as a side note, was the record that he did after he had really broken through with some of his best rock albums, and then this was a huge departure and was pretty much a completely stripped down folk record. Very slow, very depressing, very sparse. Nothing like The River, which had preceded it, and Darkness on the Edge of Town, which had preceded that. And The River actually, for the most part, came out of Darkness on the Edge of Town. He just had recorded so many tracks for Darkness that a lot of them were kind of recycled, or a lot of the unused ones were recycled or reworked and became a lot of what made up The River. And anyway, so then he did Nebraska, which really didn't have any hits on it at all, but you can find Atlantic City, which I think is the second track on some of his greatest hits compilations, and it's a good song. And then kind of out of this, strangely, was where Born in the USA came from, which of course was his gigantic, huge, massive hit record, and had a bunch of hit singles. And lots of synthesizers and cheesy 80s production, but it's a great rock and roll album, and it actually came out of Nebraska, because if you listen to bootlegs of the Nebraska sessions, there's actually a very stripped down acoustic demo of Born in the USA, and also the other song, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's the one about the guy that works, he has like work detail on the, I working on the highway, that's it, because he was in some kind of a clandestine relationship with a teenage girl, and statutory rape, and anyway, but what's interesting is that both of those songs, as demoed for Nebraska, are really dark and really very haunting, and then when they were regenerated into the tracks on Born in the USA, the subject matter is pretty much the same, and lyrically they're pretty much intact, but because of the production and the arrangement, unless you were really paying attention to the lyrics, they're really completely different songs. So and very upbeat. So anyway, this is just a few seconds of the first track on the album, which is the title track. And when I turn it on, it's got a switch here, start, reject, off. Okay, so the video I was making cut out because I had forgotten to switch my memory settings to SD card rather than internal memory. But anyway, everything's back on track. Okay, so I was in the middle of showing how this thing turns on. So you have the switch that says start, reject, off, and start, repeat. You're going to turn it to the start, reject to begin the record, and then you're going to that'll start the arm. It'll raise the arm, move it over, and all that. And then if you wanted the record to keep playing the same side over and over again, you would do the same thing, except you would turn it the other way, to the right. Start, repeat. So we're going to hit start, reject, and then you see as soon as it starts spinning, the strobe light kicks in, and you see how that line in the center is solid. That's how you want it to look. That's how you know that the pitch is exactly where it should be. And it's got a pitch control, speed adjust in the event that it doesn't look that way or sound the way it should. So hopefully you can hear the music. So this is a song based on the Charles Starkweather killings, I believe. But it's about a guy and his girlfriend. No, it's not about Starkweather. He shot people from a tower. It's about a guy and his girlfriend that go on a killing spree. And so that's what starts out the record. Me and her went for a ride. Okay, so you get the idea. Sorry, accidentally shut off the recorder. Anyway, so you get the idea, and so when you want the record to stop, you just turn it again to start, reject, and then it automatically lifts up and goes right back into the rest. And the ladder stops spinning, and that's how it works. Okay, well,